most people incline towards the path of their forefathers?
Majority of us are biological Muslims. Why are we Muslims?
Right.
And I have to go through all these halal and haram things in my life,
Right.
whereas my neighbor is a Christian or a non-Muslim or an atheist. He is enjoying his life.
The difference between deen and madhab.
Deen is a set of laws, Sharia, whereas madhab is the path.
So how do we explain as to what is pure Islam?
Man is created to play the role of God in this world.
What's the step-by-step process towards this attainment?
When you live your life religiously, then you naturally start to get near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you are demonstrating all the attributes which are relative to that particular era and the situation, then you are insan kamil.
Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has required human beings to be His representatives?
When you reach that state of Khalifatullah, you are in a pleasurable state.
You mean the tatma'innul qulub, Allah bi zikrillahi
Yes.
tatma'innul qulub.
You cannot live in a corrupt society and expect that I can reach proximity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and reach the status of Khalifatullah.
Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decide to create this universe in the first place?
That is a journey of human being in this world to find his own self.
X number of people who are possessing the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa
Yes.
ta'ala.
Mujahideen means those who struggle in the way of Allah to purify the society.
The Muslims of the world can progress if they follow the Western model.
You should not talk about God. Your state is your God. The human fitrat will reach the pinnacle of provocation and there will be a revolution.
You can see Islam, practical Islam in the West.
When you say people in the West speak truth, are they speaking truth about Gaza and Palestine on their media? If Islamic values were in the West, but he's careless about 100,000 people killed in Gaza.
The difference between rifa or welfare in English.
Quran gives one purpose to the society, that is falah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very fortunate to have Brother Arif Rizvi, who is an entrepreneur, a religious coach, and he also heads an educational TV station called Hura TV. This episode or talk that we are going to have today is basically meant to help our brothers and sisters in Islam to understand the true meaning of Islam, the pure Islam versus all other traditions and the paths that people follow because of the influence of the society or their forefathers. So we have certain questions that we'll be asking our brother Arif to respond to, and then we would welcome any feedback from our audience, and then in the next episode, inshallah, we'll try to cover those additional questions that we'll receive from the audience. So we start our program by asking the first question. So Brother Arif, my first question to you is, generally when we look at various denominations within Islam, and here with your help we are trying to help all Muslim brothers and sisters, actually the entire humanity. So when we look at Muslims generally, they follow the path of their parents, their forefathers. And that's true across all denominations, Shias, Sunnis, and everybody else. Whereas there are only very few people who try to understand what this life is all about and what is the true path versus all other paths. So could you please explain to us, why are most people inclined towards the path of their forefathers?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We need to accept a fundamental fact. And that fact is that, which I term it as, is my terminology which I use, is that majority of us are biological Muslims. Though we tell or we title other Muslims who accept Islam, who were not Muslim before, as reverts and converts, we look at them separately with the title, but we don't title ourselves. Actually, we are all biological Muslim. Biological Muslim means we have been born in Muslim family. We have inherited religion from our parents, from our home. A person born in a Sunni home becomes a Sunni Muslim. A person born in a Shia home becomes a Shia Muslim. A person born in Deobandi home becomes a Deobandi Muslim. So the religion which we majority of us have today is biologically coming to us, which Quran talks as inna wajadna aba'ana, means the religion of forefathers, your forefathers' religion. That's what we have inherited over here. And we accepted that also as whatever we have got by default is the right religion. We were told to do certain practices which we kept on doing. This is true in that society where you have various other problems going on, where your mind doesn't get focused on what your religion is, why you have this question, why you are a Muslim and these kind of things. But when you come to developed nations like England or US or Europe or wherever, Australia, developed countries, where people have all the comfort and luxuries of life, they are not concerned about their daily bread and butter. They are not concerned about their house. They are not concerned about gas and electricity. They're getting everything. Even if they don't have a job, the council is going to pay them. Okay. Here the mind starts to think. And the education system is also such that it makes you think. It teaches you to question. So a question which crops up in such kind of societies, what you asked in a different way I am framing it up is that why are we Muslims? That's a fundamental question, that why are we Muslims? I'm a Muslim because I'm born in a Muslim family. I remember a camp which I was attending as a guest over there. They invited me in just a few years back before COVID in England only. It was a camp of youths and children. They were teenagers over there. So they were having a question answer session over there. A panel was sitting and I was just sitting in the corner. They just asked me to visit and see how they were doing. It was the last day. So they were asking them, questions and like, why is music haram and why is that haram and why cannot we drink alcohol or why hijab wajib in us? One very nice young child, he was I think an Iraqi child if I'm not wrong. He stood up and said, I have a question, that why am I a Muslim?
Right.
He was concerned that all these restrictions, music is haram, I can't go to disco, I can't eat everything, I have to eat halal food. I have so many reservations, so many restrictions, and then I have to do my prayers, I have to do fasting for 30 days. It's all because of one reason, that I'm a Muslim. But why am I Muslim? Because I'm born in a Muslim family.
Right.
So is it my fault that, according to him, is it my fault that I'm born in a Muslim family and I have to go through all these halal and haram things in my life, whereas my neighbor is a Christian or a non-Muslim or an atheist, he is enjoying his life.
Right.
So fundamentally his question was that others are enjoying my life and Islam is putting me under these restrictions, and which is not my fault because I'm born in a Muslim family.
Right.
So here, this is a very, very important question. I think this is the question which is present inside everyone's fitrat, but we are afraid to ask.
Right.
One of the fears which we have is that we don't want to challenge ourselves because we don't have answers to those questions.
Right.
If you start to ask this question and you don't have answers, you are afraid that I might lose faith or I might become frustrated with my religion or I might not be able to practice my religion because I have no answers to this question.
Right.
So the question which you raised, that why majority are following forefathers' religion, it's natural. They will follow forefathers' religion because they are born in that family. But it doesn't mean that forefathers' religion which you're following is 100% incorrect.
Right.
You might be born in a family which is practicing, which understands the right religion. Okay. Or you might be born in a family which is cultural, which is ritualistic, and whatever they know a little bit, they are following that and they are teaching that to the children. So issue is not this, with the Quran is also raising this issue. Quran doesn't raise this issue on its own, that do not follow the religion of forefathers. No, Quran is not telling this. The argument which the kuffar used to put against the prophets was that when the prophets used to challenge them that what you are doing is wrong, these idol worship and this worshipping stars and all these malpractices which you have is wrong, they used to bring up this argument that it is not our fault. Our forefathers have been doing this and we have been doing the same thing over here. Quran challenges them in a different way, that so if your forefathers were misguided, would you also like to remain misguided? So Quran is telling not that don't completely deny and abandon the religion of forefathers, but just go and check what they were doing and what you have inherited is correct or not.
Understood. Right.
So
So it's basically the use of your intellect.
use of your intellect and a reference. Now the question which comes is fine. Okay,
Right.
I'm practicing the religion which I am taught in my family. I'm a Shia.
Right.
I'm a Sunni.
Right.
Fine. My father was Shia. My father was Sunni. I have become Sunni. I have become Shia.
Right.
Now there's an argument going on all over on the social media. Previously it used to be outside social media. Now on social media, who is on the right path?
Right.
Is Shia on the right path? Ideally, who is going to go to Jannah? Is Shia going to go to Jannah? Devbandi go to Jannah? Bohra going to Jannah? Ismaili go? Everyone claims that we are going to go to paradise.
Right.
We are the righteous sect and everyone is all on batil. Everyone also on falsehood.
Right.
So a person born in a Shia family claims that I am on the right path and I have Jannah. Okay, what is your virtue in that? If we assume hypothetically that Shia or maybe a Sunni is the right religion. So every Sunni, what is his efforts in becoming a Sunni? He has inherited that. So if you have inherited that, there is no achievement of yours. So the question is to assess, but assess against what? What is the reference? What is the reference to assess the religion which I am following is the right religion?
Right. And if I just ask a clarification, and that is that, there's a term that I've read by some scholar. He refers to pure stream, pure Islam.
Exactly.
So when we talk of pure Islam, we are implicitly talking about some impurities in Islam as
Exactly.
well. So what is this pure versus impure?
It's a very, very simple answer to this.
Right.
Islam means submission.
Right.
It's a religion of fitrat, the inner disposition which is present in every human being. Like we have hadith which says that every child is born as a Muslim. Right. It doesn't mean every child born as a Muslim means he is reciting La ilaha illallah. No. It means that the fitrat of every human being when he is born is inclined towards his origin. Means the orientation of your fitrat is towards your origin, that is your creator. Creation wants to move towards creator. By fitrat, we are all Muslims. Means we are all submitted to the creator. Now what happens is, over a period of time, as the child grows, the new baby which is born turns into an infant, then a child, and then grows up and up. Subject to the family environment, atmosphere, society, education, every exposure which the child is getting leaves an impression on the child. And the child is such that the child is not mature. The child starts to make role model. Parents will become role model. Teachers will become role model. Some friends will become role model. Media characters would become role model. A child will make multiple role models and starts to follow those role models over here. This is where it happens that the pure Islam which was there in his fitrat starts to get adulterated with many other things. Now here we need to address one more question which is very important. We're talking about forefathers religion, we're talking about pure religion, but what is meant by religion?
Right.
We have to understand that, what is meant by religion. Moment we talk about religion as a Muslim, the thing which comes to our mind is what? Salat, worship,
certain rituals,
beard,
yeah,
hijab. That's the identity. That's it. But religion is a way of life. It's a set of laws which a person has to follow in his life, in every affair of his life. That's what is religion. In Arabic, if you see deen means a set of laws. It's a constitution of life. And every human being is following certain set of laws. Even if you are not religious person or not following any divine religion, still you are following the laws of the country. So that is your religion.
Can you also please explain for the benefit of youngsters the difference between deen and madhab, religion and one particular sect?
Deen is a set of laws, Sharia. Whereas madhab is the path.
Right.
It's the path which you follow. The path which when you're following a set of laws, you're following a path. Like in a country where you're living. Say, for example, you're living in Britain.
Right.
Now, Britain has a constitution. It is not having a constitution as such.
It's a constitutional law. Yes,
constitutional law.
Right.
So you have certain set of laws for everything. You have laws for traffic. You have laws for society. You have laws for marriage. You have laws for divorce. You have laws for education. You have laws for everything.
Correct.
When you follow this law, these laws place you on a path. It is leading you somewhere.
I see. Right. Okay.
It's taking you somewhere. Though you might not be aware where it is taking you, but it is taking the human being somewhere. There is a destination where he or she is going towards. I won't get into that now, otherwise the discussion will go into another social direction.
I agree.
Here.
Yeah.
So every sort of set of laws or constitution which you follow has a purpose, which might be covert, which might be overt.
Right.
Islam sets it very clear. The purpose is overt, not covert. There's nothing hidden.
Right.
Where you want to lead you towards inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un.
Right.
You have come from the creator, you have to go back to the creator. Okay, you have come in one state, you have to go back in the other state. And you have to follow a path that is sirat, straight path. And that path when you follow, how do you assure that you follow the path? That path is followed through the set of laws. When you follow those set of laws in life, you are on that path. If you don't follow those laws, follow some, follow others, then you're not on that path. You're not on mazhab-e-Islam.
Right.
You're not on the path of Islam.
Right. Right.
Though you are following certain laws, but you're not on the path of Islam.
That's very interesting.
So laws and mazhab is this, deen and the direction which it takes you.
Right.
So the point which I was raising was that we need to first know what is religion. Religion is a way of life. It's the laws which you follow in life, and everyone follows some or the other laws. No one can deny that they do not follow any laws. Yeah. So it is out of question that I am not religion. As we have in Hadith also, know that most of the people follow the religion of the hukma, of the rulers, of the state, which means the constitution of your country, the rulers or the government. They follow their religion. They follow their path basically. What they have ordained, they will be on that path only, which they have given to them, the rulers and the constitution. So you need a religion in life. You need set of laws in a society for individual level as well as for social level.
Right.
Now, being a Muslim, by birth we are told that you are a Muslim. You have to follow the laws which Islam has given you. Okay? But are those laws which are given to me really coming from the pure Islam, or is it coming from my forefathers?
Right.
It is possible that the forefathers have acquired the pure Islam and I inherited that.
That's also one
Maybe
possibility.
children of prophet.
Yeah.
All the children of prophets were not prophets.
Agreed. Yes.
Not every son, like Hazrat Yaqub had 12 children. One was a prophet, not others were prophet. So what you have inherited from your forefathers could be a pure religion or could be an adulterated religion. Where things have got adulterated. And adulteration could also go to this extent, there is hardly anything about pure Islam seen.
Right.
So here we have to discriminate between pure Islam and every Islam against that. It's not just forefathers' religion.
Right.
Forefathers' religion is one element. There is a religion coming from the society as well.
How do you mean? Please explain that.
The society in which you are living, for example, like in this society, there are many children who are born, they don't even know who their father and mother is.
I see. Right. Okay.
So you cannot say that they are following the religion of their forefathers. What religion are they following? They follow the religion which is there present in the society. The culture, like a liberal culture is present. They will follow that only. Education system, wherever they go, they will follow that only what is taught to them.
Right.
So they will be on the religion of the society, of the hukma, of the rulers, not of the forefathers. Because they don't remember also who their forefathers were.
Right.
They have not seen their father and mother at all.
Right. Understood.
Like a child is born as an orphan. My father has passed away. Mother also passes away at delivery. What happens to the child? He's taken to an orphanage. Now, whatever religion is present in the orphanage, he is going to inherit that. So, forefathers' religion is one. What we are talking about, pure Islam. And against pure Islam, all other versions of Islam.
Right. And how do we, for a youngster, how do we explain as to what is pure Islam?
Okay. Pure Islam, in very, very simple words, is that religion which takes you towards your purpose of creation.
And what's the purpose of creation?
The purpose of creation, now as a Muslim, if I talk, let me talk as a Muslim first. As a Muslim, if I talk, the purpose of creation is to achieve qurb and nearness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now someone might ask me, what will I get if I achieve nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
Right.
What is meant by this qurb?
Yeah, that's
Is
even
Allah
more-
sitting somewhere and I have to reach very close to him and sit next to him?
Yeah.
No. What is the meaning of qurb?
Correct.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's, the creator of the world, his essence are his attributes,
Right.
the sifat.
Right.
He is merciful, he is compassionate, he is also jabbar against tyrants. He doesn't like tyrants, and he is a forgiver. He is a concealer of defects. He is qayyum. So many attributes of
All
Allah
the
subhanahu wa
99
ta'ala.
names of Allah subhanahu wa
More
ta'ala.
than that. It's
Yeah.
much more than that.
Right.
All these are attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Right. Right.
When you seek nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the principle, the philosophical principle of nearness is that, irrespective of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you are near to me and I am near to you, means we keep on meeting every day, we dine together, we go walk together, either certain attributes will transfer from me to you or from me to you or you to me. It will happen.
Right. Right.
I will acquire some of your traits, some of your habits. Like some people, those who watch movies and they watch movies of selected heroes, they start to behave like them. Their language becomes like them.
Right. Right.
Like in Pakistan, this was a common issue which happened a few years back. The children were watching Indian cartoons.
Right.
So they used to use Hindi terms at home.
Yeah, I've
and the
noticed
parents
that,
were
yes.
concerned. It came in news also, and all this was big noise going on over there at the
Right,
time.
right.
So it's natural that the law of proximity is that the principle of proximity is that when you acquire proximity with someone, there will be a transfer of or exchange of attributes which will happen. Either it could be one-sided or it could be two-sided. If the one side is very powerful, they will not take anything. The powerful side will not take anything from me, but the weaker side will take from that. Like you're sitting near a wall and the wall is wet. When you sit near the wall will not take your effect, but you will take the effect of the wall. You will feel the support, you will feel the heat, you will feel the cold, whatever is there. For the wall, it doesn't matter who is sitting over here.
Right.
So this is the philosophy and the principle of nearness. When we acquire nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the attributes will start to transfer in myself. I will also become Kareem, like Allah is Kareem.
And what's the step-by-step process towards this attainment?
Again, the step-by-step process is religion.
Right.
Religion, the set of laws, when you follow those set of laws, laws doesn't mean just doing halal and haram. When I say laws, I'm just using in a broader sense.
Right.
It also means the principles and the values
Right.
which you have to acquire, which is present in the fitrat, which you have to nurture and foster, which is there in religion. When you live your life religiously, in very simple words, when you live your life religiously, means Islamically, religiously, then you naturally start to get near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Right.
Step by step, you are going near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
And how is the uswa of the Masumeen relevant in this discussion?
Okay, Uswa, I think that's again a separate topic which is coming up over here.
Right.
Let's not talk about Masumeen. Let's
Right.
talk about role model, which I
Right.
discussed before.
Right.
Every human being needs a role model. Not one, but multiple role models we have in our life.
Right.
The dresses which we are wearing today
Right.
is coming through some role model over here. So we have role models in our life. If the role model which we are following is connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala,
Right.
already he is near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Right, right.
And the term and the title which is given to the person who achieves nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to a certain extent is Khalifatullah. He becomes a representative of Allah.
Oh, right.
If for the sake of the younger generation, I would like to give a very nice statement over here, which they should remember, that in very simple words, man is created to play the role of God in this world.
That's very powerful.
Yes.
That's very, very powerful.
Man is created to play the
Some
role
would argue
of
that it has an
God
element
in
of shirk in
No,
this statement.
Not God doesn't mean over here in terms of creation, that
Right.
man is created to create people, to create creation over here. No, in terms of attributes.
Right.
The attributes which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has,
Right.
they should be manifested in the character of human being.
Right.
When you say a person is of good character, he's a bad person, he's a good person. What is the definition of good and bad? The definition in West will differ, the definition in East will differ. There are different definition of good and bad.
Correct.
Someone is a good, in certain countries, in certain situation, if you speak lie and you get business, oh, excellent guy, he got me the deal.
Right.
He spoke lies.
Hmm.
But at certain places, no, you have to speak truth, whether you lose the business or you don't, or you get the business.
Right.
So the definition on good, or we say morality in philosophy, is relative in the world.
Right.
Where do you get absolute morality from? Where you know that this is my reference point, and this reference point will tell me whether you are good or bad.
Right. Okay.
Whether you're good or bad, the reference has to tell me. That reference is what? That is the essence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The divine attributes. So when you want to see mercy, say Rahim, you say someone is very merciful.
Right.
What is the definition of merciful? Okay, he's feeding few poor people. He's very merciful. But he's careless about 100,000 people killed in Gaza. Will you call him a merciful person?
That's a very difficult question.
You will not call him a merciful person.
Yeah.
Because he's not concerned about 100,000, 30,000 children martyred and butchered in Gaza. But when he walks out from the home, there is a beggar sitting out asking for a change. And he says, oh, £1 every day. A very merciful person. That's an incomplete or incorrect definition of mercy. If you are merciful, merciful means having a pain for every person who is going through a real difficulty.
Right.
So you see a difficulty on the TV screen every day, but you're not concerned. You don't even like to watch and see that. So how do you know the right definition of mercy? When you see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is His mercy? How merciful He is. And you can find that documented in His divine books about where all Allah is demonstrating and manifesting His mercy. And then you see whether human beings are merciful in the same manner or not.
And also the role models, basically.
Yeah,
the role models.
I was coming to that only.
Right. Okay.
When you start to manifest attributes, then they are getting manifested in your actions. Okay.
Right.
One is theory. Quran says you have to be merciful with the orphans. You have to show mercy on your parents. You have to show mercy on your neighbors. You have to be merciful with the oppressed people in the world.
Correct.
As Quran says, no, why don't you, when the oppressed people are calling, why don't you respond to them? This is a sign of mercy over here.
Right.
Okay. So this is the theory which the Quran is presenting, that this is what you need to be doing. These attributes should be present inside yourself. Like Quran says about izzat, honor, dignity, that you have to possess dignity in your character. Okay. Now all this is there in theory. I want to see, is it really practically possible that a man can reach at this level where he starts to manifest the divine attributes in his character in totality?
Right.
You might be a good person, a kind person, but you are not courageous person. You are timid, you are weak. It happens. A person is doing excellent charity. Everywhere he is doing charity, but he is very, very weak and timid and fearful. He doesn't want to speak against any tyrants or any oppressors. He doesn't want to voice out at all for any rights or any haqq over there. So he is having one of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inside himself, but not in totality. I always give an example.
So is it possible to succeed when somebody is following or demonstrating one particular attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala while ignoring others?
No, you cannot. You cannot.
Right.
You cannot reach that level where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to reach you.
Right.
And at times, by not demonstrating certain divine attributes in yourself when the circumstances demand it, then you are a criminal, despite of you being a good character person. Like I'll give a simple example. Imam Hussein's Qiyam. Okay. He is in Mecca. There are pilgrims coming, Hajis coming over there. Were these Hajis of good character or not?
Good character. They are there for
They are
Hajj.
taking the pain for few months to travel in that hot desert.
It was very hard to travel in those days.
And they are coming over there.
Agreed.
They were a good character people.
Right.
They would sacrifice sheep. They will serve it to, they will sacrifice camels. They will serve it to poor people.
Right.
And there were people, like Quran says, there are people who are custodian of the Kaaba.
Yeah.
But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, no, their fazilat is not like those of the Mujahideen.
Right.
It's a very clear demarcation which Allah is doing. Fine, you possess this attribute
Right.
that you serve water to the pilgrims. You're serving water to the pilgrims, but your status is not that as those of Mujahideen. Those who struggle in the way of Allah.
Correct.
Those who do jihad in the way of Allah.
Right.
So it's very clear over here that no, if you possess certain attributes and you do not possess certain others, and the call of the time wants you to demonstrate those attributes, then you might be going the other way around. You are turned into a criminal.
Right.
As there was lanat and cursed on those people who did not came with Imam Hussain alayhi salam.
Right. Right.
So in totality, so coming to the point of the role model over here, you need a character who in totality can manifest the divine attributes.
Right. Right.
And that is role model, or in the Quranic terminology, uswa.
Right.
As Quran says, Ibrahim is your uswa. As Quran says, the Holy Prophet ﷺ is your excellent uswa. Uswatul Hasana.
Right.
The best uswa. Because you can see in his character the manifestation of divine attributes.
Right.
Now, a question might come that will the role model always manifest all the attributes in his lifetime? No. It's not, might be it's not possible. It's possible, but the situations might not be such that he gets an opportunity to demonstrate everything.
Right.
Like certain uswas, like imams, they did not fight any battle. They did not demonstrate their courage, but that doesn't mean they were not courageous. They were not valorous. The circumstances, situation was, the opportunity was not there to demonstrate.
Right.
But they possessed that.
Right.
So subject to the circumstances, subject to the era, subject to the society, if you are demonstrating all the attributes which are relative to that particular era and the situation, then you are insan-e-kamil, or a role model. A perfect human being.
Right.
A role model is a perfect human being.
And why does, fundamentally speaking, and this is very important what you have described so far, why is it important, or why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has required human beings to be his representatives? What is the sort of end goal here?
End goal, as I said, is, see, Khalifatullah is not a requirement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's a mistake over here.
Right.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants the creation to achieve proximity.
Right.
Now, this is a discussion which goes into theological discussion.
Right.
I'll give a simple example, just maybe it might leave the thirst for more, but I'll just give an example. Like you have a glass of water. Where is this water coming from? You say it's coming from the tap. Where is the water coming from the tap, inside the tap? It's coming from water reservoir. Okay. Where is it coming from there? It's coming from the river or from the sea. Right. So the sea or the river is a source of the water. Okay. Now you take this glass of water, go back to the sea again, and put it back inside the sea, inside the river. Now what happens? Is the water gone, dead, or is it still present?
Are we discussing Wahdatul Wujud or what?
No, I'm coming to this point.
Right, right.
Is the water present or dead? Is it gone? Is it finished?
I would say the water is still there, but it has become part of the whole.
Part of the whole is what? That whole is the origin.
Right.
It came from that river.
Yeah.
It came in little quantity to you. It went back, but it has not lost its existence.
Yeah.
Its existence has got melted or has merged inside the origin.
Right.
That is what is the entire creation all about.
Right.
The perception of the creation which we have is different. We assume Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is like a creation sitting somewhere in the skies and controlling things and those.
Can I also, because you have taken me to a very, 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 important situation. I would let me ask a question which is, I think, going to be very helpful to the youngsters in particular. Why is there something rather than nothing? I.e., why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decide to create this universe in the first place?
No, here again, the question itself has a problem over here.
Right.
Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decide? Means decision, that is irada of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Right.
We are assuming is separate from Him.
And is it not?
It's not.
His intention is not separate from him?
It's not that. Intention is not something which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's essence is one essence, and irada is something separate, like we in ourselves, like the creation, human being.
Right.
I am myself and I have an intention.
Right.
I might intend at some time to do something, I might intend at some other time to do something else.
Right.
That is not the irada of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Right, I know.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His essence itself is that irada. His essence itself is that decision.
Right.
The attributes itself is the essence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the point which I was trying to make over here.
Right.
Now, it is now some youngsters always put up this question that how do we perceive this? It's very difficult to perceive these theological facts.
Right.
This is something which you cannot perceive by your mind, by your intellect. It's not possible to perceive. Why? Because you are trying to perceive this. This is about the Creator. You are trying to develop a perception of the Creator through the mind, which is a creation.
Correct.
So you're trying to perceive infinity through finity.
That's our limitation.
That's a limitation.
Yeah.
So you need to perceive that through something which is also infinity, but in a concise manner, which can go towards infinity, present in yourself. The tool has to be different. The tool is not the mind.
Right.
Like you are driving, you reach a seashore,
Right.
dead end. What do you do over here? You need a ferry. You need to change the means of transportation.
Correct.
We try to perceive everything by mind, which is a mistake.
But the entire Western philosophy is that you have to give priority to.
It's materialism.
Yeah.
The question is, how do you perceive from your heart or from your inner self?
Right.
This is where this journey is. You cannot sit on day one and start to perceive the essence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala using your intellect. You will reach to some point and then you will stop.
Right.
Okay. Like Russell, philosopher, Western philosopher, Bertrand Russell, he says that, I almost believed in God.
Right.
But I couldn't get an answer to one question. That, okay, God, someone created this and that is one superpower who created this, that is God. But I couldn't get an answer to one question, which
Who
took me
created
towards, right, Russell says, which took me towards infidelity was that who created God?
Right.
So he was perceiving through mind. He was perceiving God itself as a superhuman being.
Right. Yes.
That was the difference over here.
Right. Understood.
The tool is fawad, the inner self, the heart. That has to be used. And that tool cannot be used unless it is trained and it is nurtured to be utilized. Like you are driving a car. I tell you this, the car cannot go beyond this. This is the ferry, go inside, go ahead. You said, I cannot drive this. I need to be first trained. Or I take you to the runway. Now there is nothing beyond this. You have to fly and go to that island over there.
Right.
Say, I can't fly because I don't know how to fly. First, give me training to fly. So you need to train your heart, the inner self. Then the inner self will get connected to the essence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Right.
Then you will start to perceive these things inside. But I will make it more simple for the youths to still give them a direction.
Right.
There are many things which happens in life with us which are highly materialistic. Like you get an injury on the hand. You can see that your hand is cut. You eat something, the stomach is upset. Fine. It's all physical things which are happening. You lose something. Okay. But there are many other things which are not physical.
Right.
Which are emotional, which are inside yourself. Like someone dies in the family. Now what happens? You feel sad from inside.
Yeah.
That sadness is what? Where is the sadness inside your body? Can you find and show me? Can any surgeon, can any MRI machine, CT scan? Can you put someone inside and scan the body of the person and show that where is pleasure? Where is sadness? Where is love?
Right.
Where is anger? You might say dopamine. Dopamine is a chemical which releases. But okay, what makes a dopamine chemical release? It's a feeling that makes it release.
Right.
Dopamine is not a feeling. It's the chemical which changes your physical structure to express those feelings.
Right.
It changes your physical state. So where are those feelings inside? That means there is something beyond this body.
Correct.
And that something is non-materialistic.
It is.
Which is having a connection with somewhere else.
Right.
And that is the connection which human being has to find. And that is the journey of human being in this world to find his own self.
And why do, although I know our topic is slightly different, but because the way you are articulating this is very helpful to the youngsters, I can understand that. So therefore I ask the question, what's the problem with the West? How come they ignore this fundamental sort of, attribute of a human being? I mean, we are not just body. We are much more than body. How can they reject all of this?
No, to answer this question itself, we need to go back again into the philosophy of creation.
Right.
Allah created human being.
Right.
And said to human being, you have to do this journey, acquire proximity of Allah and become Khalifatullah.
Right.
Khalifatullah is not the purpose. When you acquire the attributes, you reach that stage.
And what happens, by the way, when assuming that you have now X number of people who are possessing the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what will be the consequence in social terms?
In social terms, they would be the ideal persons in the society whose every act would be as per the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Means every act which they will do would be correct.
Right.
It would not be wrong.
Right.
They would not be doing anything wrong, any mistakes, though the world might see it as wrong.
Right.
But as per divine will, they are doing everything right. So they become ideal person. Like Plato also had the same theory.
Right.
Plato's theory was that if you want to govern the state,
Right.
you need a person who possesses the best virtues, morality, best morals.
And knowledge also?
Yeah, knowledge is a part of that. Knowledge, morality, knowledge is there, definitely.
Yeah.
But to govern the state, knowledge is just not enough.
Right.
Today, there are big scientists who are governing state, but what they are doing? We can see in the world what is happening.
Right.
Are they not educated people who are governing big developed countries? They're all PhDs. Still, you can see what they are doing, what crimes they are doing today in the world.
Right.
So knowledge is not just enough to govern the state. It's morality. It's the virtues. It's the justice which is inside human being. The balance inside is character.
Right.
Now, Plato was very good in this. That, okay, but how do you develop this person? His theory was you have to cut him off from the world.
Right.
He should not have any desires. He should
A special training program.
Special training program, very isolated, secluded. Give them training, give them fitness, develop arms and everything, train them.
Right.
But he came to one very interesting point that this would fail.
Right.
Why? What is the motivation for that person where everyone else is enjoying?
Now, why should they
What is
make
the motivation?
special effort to sacrifice for others?
Exactly the same question which that young child is asking. What is the motivation for me to be a Muslim?
Yeah, quite right. Yeah.
So Plato couldn't go beyond that.
Right.
Okay, what is the motivation? This model is fine.
Right.
Looks good.
Right.
I will create very well trained, like an army person, they train them to fight. But they have motivation, they are paid employees, they get paid, they get status, all these things they get. But this person, what will he get? He has to govern the state, take all the pressures later on for what? The motivation always comes when you have a higher objective. And the most highest objective is your creation, is your creator. Getting nearness to the creator. And that is Khalifatullah. When you reach that level of Khalifatullah, you become self-motivated.
Right.
Self-motivated means you start to feel the divine pleasure inside you. Like those people who do charity, even atheists who do charity. Why do they do charity?
They feel good about it.
They feel good about it. So there is something which is the repercussion of good acts which you do, which comes back on you. Okay? So Khalifatullah, when you reach that state of Khalifatullah, you are 24/7 in a pleasurable state. Every moment of your life you are enjoying. But that pleasure is different from this pleasure.
Yeah, right, right.
Every moment, even if you are hit.
You mean the tatma'innul qulub, ala bi zikrillahi tatma'innul qulub.
You are reaching that contented state where everything happening with you, even calamities happening with you, you enjoy.
Right.
You feel pleasure that my Lord is pleased with me.
Right.
He wants me to do this and I am doing this.
Right.
And the discussion is
So,
going much.
so what will be the effect in the society when this happens? Will the society be an ideal
The
society?
society will be an adil society, a
Right.
just society, a balanced society. A person who has reached Khalifatullah will not deprive even an ant of its rights.
And are we supposed to be his representative in our personal capacity, or that responsibility takes us to some social responsibility as well?
Life and religion, everything is social.
Everything is social.
Hardly there are few things which you might say is individual. Say, for example,
But people would say that becoming a representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a very personal effort. So if, for example, I
it's not
start
a personal effort. It's not a personal effort. To reach, to seek nearness of Allah. So as you said, started with the question, the religion of forefathers.
Yeah.
I said there are other forms of religion.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The other forms of religion, the adulteration in religion, which happens through what? Forefathers, not individual, from someone else.
Right.
Society.
Right.
Culture. So all these things are having an impact. You cannot live in a corrupt society and expect that I can reach proximity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and reach the status of Khalifatullah.
Right. Right.
You cannot do that. You cannot expect at an individual level.
Right.
It's like in a dirty pond, you jump with a shampoo and a towel and say, okay, I'll clean myself with this shampoo. The water is dirty.
Right.
You take the best shampoo over there, you will not be able to clean yourself.
Hmm.
So you need to clean that water first.
Right.
And that's the beauty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that Mujahideen. Mujahideen has the highest status. The Mujahideen fi sabilillah. Now, we should not complicate Mujahideen or jihad with qital,
Right.
which is a physical warfare.
Right. Right.
Jihad is struggle.
Right.
Mujahideen means those who struggle in the way of Allah to purify the society.
Right.
Mujahideen in Quranic terminology are those people who do amr bil maroof and nahi anil munkar. Those who invite people towards virtues and values,
Right.
and those who prohibit evils in the society.
Right.
Stop evils, control evils in the society, or purify society. So unless you are living in a purified
So
society,
Islam, the pure Islam does not allow this secularism, the separation of church and the state.
no, there is absolutely, you cannot.
Right.
It's against common sense. No, you forget about, take religion aside.
Right.
You're living in a democratic society. Okay.
Right.
Does this democratic society allow you to be individual or not to be social?
No.
They don't allow you.
Yeah.
You have to be social.
Yeah.
You cannot say I'm individual, I don't care about. You are under control of every system. You have to file your taxes.
Yeah.
You are social. You have to earn your living. You are social. So how can you say religion is secular?
Right.
When your secular systems are not secular, how can you say religion is not about social aspects, it's only about individual aspects?
Right.
It's a very, very illogical point which certain people make, that religion has nothing to do with social affairs.
Because of the influence of the West and the fact that the West has made a lot of materialistic advancement, a number of now Muslims, I would say majority perhaps, who think that the Muslims of the world can progress if they follow the Western model of separating religion,
State and the...
state and the society, basically.
It's not about state and society. When they talk about secularism, they talk about separating political side of the society.
Yeah, separating the mosque from...
The mosque from interference with the state affairs.
Yes.
Okay. Why? Because when you bring religion in the society practically, religion is for society only.
Yeah.
When you then as I said, mazhab, the path of religion is different and the path of state is different.
Right.
Like take a monarchy or take a kingdom. Take a king. What does the king wants? He wants his state should be obeying him. And he should live a comfortable, luxurious life, and he should inherit the kingdom to his own children.
Correct.
Whether he has to do oppression on his peoples for the sake of his own comfort, he will do. But is religion allowing that?
No.
No. Not even Christianity doesn't allow this.
No.
Judaism doesn't allow this.
Yeah.
No religion, no divine religion allows this. Even Hinduism doesn't allow this. Even in their religion, there's a lot of things about justice, social justice, and these things are there.
Right.
So when religion is not allowing you to do certain things, which is your biggest mandate, that I want to live a pleasurable and comfortable life, irrespective of what happens with my people, then there is a clash of the two ideologies over here.
Yeah.
Hence, you have to separate them. Okay, fine. One option is eradicate religion completely from the society. No mosques, no prayers, no churches, no synagogues, nothing. You should not talk about God. Your state is your God. But why they have not done this, or they have not been successful in doing this? This is the question, no? That you hate religion. You don't want religion to come in your political affairs. So why don't you eradicate religion completely? Bring down all the mosques? Why are you not doing that? You can't do that. Because you know it is present in the fitrat of human being.
Right.
If you try to do that, the human fitrat will reach the pinnacle of provocation, and there will be a revolution. People will topple the state if you start to do that. So you have to transform the religion into a painkiller.
I see. Right.
Okay, you get some peace of mind by doing some worship, by doing some meditation, but do not interfere with the state affairs.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And if in this situation, you are getting the basic essentials of life in place, you get food, you get housing, okay, you get some money to enjoy your life, why would you care about religion getting into politics and into state affairs? We all, as Quran says, human being is selfish. We all think about our own self. If I am living a comfortable life, and in this comfortable life, I have a pinch of religion as well for taste. The salt of religion is also there for taste for me. I feel satisfied, contented that, oh, mashallah, I do salat. I do Saum for 30 days. I recite Quran every day in the morning. I have halal food.
Yeah.
The government, even in supermarkets which are not owned by Muslim, I can find halal food.
Yeah.
What else do I need in life? I have religion. I have word. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatu. Dunya is also hasana. Akhirat is also hasana. That's what people find in this part of the world.
Actually, I want to ask this question because a number of youngsters, when we talk about Islam and the need for a social order in terms of Quranic injunction, they say that look at the European model, the Western model, right? Is it not practically Quranic model? They say that they argue that we keep talking about improving societies, etc., etc., but the Western societies have already done so, right? Especially the Scandinavian model is considered as an ideal model, right? And you must have heard this statement from a number of people, Muslims actually, who have migrated to this part of the world, saying that
Islam is found in the West.
You can see practical Islam in the West. So how would you respond to that?
No, these statements are not more from the Western people, they're more from the Eastern people.
Yeah, who migrate.
Those who are living in Pakistan, they always say, see, I went to UK and I found Islam over
Yes, they
people, where did you find Islam? People were standing in a queue.
Yeah.
They were not pushing.
And they tell the truth, and then they comply with the laws, and they work hard, and then the state takes care of their needs and so on.
Yeah. After 7th October 2023, this should be very clear.
Right.
When you say people in the West speak truth, are they speaking truth about Gaza and Palestine on their media? They're not speaking the truth. Every common man knows that the media and the states, what they are doing, whom are they supporting and whom they should be supporting. If they were sincere, if they were truthful, if Islam was over here, if Islamic values were in the West, then the world would have been different.
But they'll argue that look at the students, the students from the Western universities are...
Okay, how many? In a population of 200 million, 300 million, how many? Not even a million.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this is a special blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that the fitrat got awakened. It's an individual affair over there. The fitrat got awakened.
Right.
It was not the state which has awakened them to stand up and rise. No.
Yes, you're
so
right.
when you talk about West sitting in the East, you're not talking about individual. You're talking about the way state has nurtured the system, that people speak truth over there. People are disciplined over there. They are sincere. They don't take bribe. They don't cheat. All these things you see as a state level policy.
Yes.
So there is hypocrisy in the state level policy as well. When it comes to inside the state policies, you say, no, everyone have fair and just dealing. Everyone should get their rights, no racism, no prejudice. But what about your foreign affairs policy?
Right.
Now, what is happening today over here in terms of immigration? All this racism which is happening. So, are these values? Is this Islam in the West? That you're not able to tolerate immigrants. Islam just not tolerated immigrants, told the Ansars that you should give half of your assets to the migrants.
But then they argue that, if you look at all the Muslim countries, they don't even allow any citizenship in the first place.
See, Muslim country doesn't mean that Islam is present over here. There is a fundamental difference which we have to understand over here. Muslim and Islam. A Muslim country and an Islamic country has a difference.
I see, right.
A Muslim country is where the people from biological Muslims are living over there.
Right.
Not those Muslims who have acquired the values which Islam has given. An Islamic state is where you have Islamic values in every dimension, every aspect of society.
Right.
Muslims, you're looking at Muslim states. They were Muslims, inherited Islam, they became Muslim, but they don't possess any values. Like bin Salman very clearly said in his interview that we were told to promote Wahhabism, we did that. Now we are told to promote liberalism, so we are doing that. So what do you call them? In Muslim, these are Muslims? They're not Muslim, they're following someone else.
Right. Can you please also explain in this context so that the youngsters can also benefit the difference between rifa or welfare in English versus Saada or Falah in terms of the Quranic concepts?
Now, again, this is something, we are swaying a topic here and there more now. When you talk about, before you go to Rifa, before you go to Sa'adat, the Quranic term is Falah, which is a very important term in Quran. وَلْتَكُنْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةً يَدْعُونَ عَلَى الْخَيْرِ يَعْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. Quran gives one purpose to the society.
Right.
That is falah.
Right.
Prosperity. Okay. At an individual level, you have to reach nearness, proximity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Right.
At a social level, not an individual, the society has to reach falah. Falah means what? Falah means harvesting.
Right.
Falah in Arabic means you put a seed, you do all the cultivation, and then when the crop is ready, you cut it, harvest it.
Right.
Okay, that is falah in Arabic.
Right.
Falah in Quranic terminology is that this world is where you do all the cultivation, all the farming, and you prepare the crop. The crop has to come out in this world, not in the year after.
Ad-dunya mazaratul akhirah.
Yes.
Right.
That is falah.
Yes.
You just cut it over here, harvest it. You will just cut it in the year after. That's it.
Right. That's falah. And
You
what
will
is
see
Sa'adat?
that.
What is Sa'adat?
Sa'adat is privilege.
I see.
You are privileged because, like the same thing which we talked about Khalifatullah.
Right.
When you reach the status of Khalifatullah, you have got Sa'adat. You have got privilege.
Right.
Like Shaheed.
Right.
One who dies in the way of Allah, he has got this privilege that he has died in the way of Allah.
Right.
A special status. Sa'adat is a special status, which is beyond a believer, beyond a muttaqi, beyond a muhsin. He is getting that special status.
And so would it be correct to conclude, based on very valuable sort of statements that you have made, that the West does not promise Sa'adat or Falah?
Yeah.
Their constitutions only, promise to provide you welfare.
Welfare, see,
This
again, this is another discussion, because welfare in the Western states is not coming out from values.
I see.
This is a misconception we have, that in the West, welfare is there.
Yeah.
It's a value, it's an aqdar. No, it's not an aqdar. It's a need.
Okay.
It's a need to maintain stability in the system. It's a tool.
Yeah. But the regular person will say, I don't care about philosophy. So long as my needs are met, I'm fine.
He is getting his needs. But when you look at from when we're doing analysis and discussion on that,
Right.
we have to understand that they're not doing welfare because they like you.
Right.
They're not giving you food because they don't like to see you hungry. They are not giving you house because they don't want to see you sleeping on the street. It's not the pain for humanity which is making the systems to welfare.
Right.
Islamic concept of welfare, rifa, is different.
Right.
It's out of pain for humanity. It's for maintaining balance in the society.
Right. Right.
This is not for maintaining that balance which Quran is talking about in the society, so that those who are poor, when the poverty is there with them, if you don't feed them food, if you don't treat them if they are sick, they will remain backwards in their journey towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Right. Right.
This is a support. You are giving them so that they can also continue the journey. And Allah says, I am going to reward you for this because you are yourself doing the journey and you are helping others to do the journey.
Right. Right.
In the Western system, welfare is not for this purpose that they should help you so that you should become, you should go and seek nearness to Allah.
Yeah.
They help you so that you don't come out on the street and protest.
I see. Right. Right.
You see, look at it today. You remove the welfare system from the society, what will happen?
There'll be chaos and there'll
be chaos.
Yeah, and demonstrations.
But if in Medina,
yeah,
at the time of the Holy Prophet, let's take one example, Medina Fazila. At that time, the Prophet established a virtuous city. Cool. Now, if there were poor people over there,
yes,
they had no food to eat.
Right.
They don't have slippers in their feet.
Right.
They don't have horses. So did they came out on the street and protested, oh Prophet, we were living a good life. You came and spent everything in wars and battles and we have nothing now. We want to protest. Give us food.
No.
They were not.
Yes.
Why? Because there were Islamic values present inside them.
And they were aspiring to achieve sa'adat.
Without welfare, they were living this life over there and they did not protest it. You remove welfare from this society and see what happens.
Yeah. And we saw something during COVID period.
Exactly.
How people were reacting at that time.
So when you look at welfare in the society, welfare, very good, they are Muslims.
Yeah.
But this is not Islamic, these are not Islamic values.
Right.
This is a political strategy to maintain peace in the society so that people should not stand against the system. You give them limited things so that they survive.
Understood.
Like you catch a prisoner, a captive, put inside the prison. Do you feed food to the prisoner or not?
Of course you have to.
Because you want how much, but you don't give them very good quality food inside. You give the bare minimum food so that they can survive.
Yes.
That's it. This is what is the philosophy of welfare in these states. These welfare states are meant for this. It's not about caring for the people. It's not coming out from the heart. It's coming out from the intellect.